Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in today. Today I wanted to talk a little bit about some new shoes that I picked up here on eBay. And if you're like me, you spend a lot of time researching things and trying to find the best absolute deal on whatever it is that you're interested in. I do a lot of that. I've bought stuff from China, I'll buy parts from the UK, I've bought parts from Italy, wherever I can find, whether it's brand name or off-market stuff at a great value, I'll buy it. I shop that type of stuff. So my recent acquisition, I picked these up on eBay, and these are from a company called Upline. And I could find zero information about them. There was nothing out there about this company Upline or these road cycling shoes. I found two videos that had Upline mountain bike shoes there, but they were both done over in Asia and they were speaking their native language. So I got nothing out of that. So they didn't understand what they were saying. So I went ahead and I took a chance on buying them. So these were on eBay. This was US stock. I did actually find these on AliExpress as well. So you might be able to find a decent deal there. And they seem to be a little bit cheaper, but this was US stock. Several companies in the US are selling these shoes, and the price was all over the map. I got an offer to buy a pair that were unfortunately a size too big for me for $40, 40 US dollars. I ended up paying $80 all in for these. But I saw prices in the 60s, 70s, and I also saw prices like 130. What sets these apart? Why did I buy these? Because I really love the coloring. No. The coloring is hit or miss, right? I've had a couple of friends already say they love it. I've had some people say, yeah, not so much. But these are carbon-soled road cycling shoes, and they are genuinely carbon. So let's take a closer look. I'm gonna show you these compared to some others and go over a few features of them, and then we'll weigh them and we'll wrap it up. So let's get a closer look at these. So if I come on over here, one of the things that I thought was really pretty cool about these shoes is they've got a really nice toe box here. So you can see it's kind of thick and it's a little bit wide. By the way, these were true to size. I wear a size 42, which is a 9 in the US as this stated, and this fits pretty good. I'm not used to having this kind of toe space though, but it'll be kind of nice. Especially in the wintertime. I think these will be cool weather shoes because then I can add a thicker pair of socks. These are the shoes that I wear all the time. These are my Mavics. These are brand name shoes. I bought these new old stock maybe 7 years ago. I paid like $130 for them. They are carbon soled shoes. These shoes retailed for $425 back when they were new. So picking them up for $130 was a pretty good deal. And they've been great. And there's actually nothing wrong with these shoes except one thing. And I don't know if you'll be able to see this in the video, but I'll try and point it out. Oh, maybe you can see it right there in the light. This is getting gouged out on both shoes. I use Look Keel type pedal system. And what happens is this starts to create play and the up-down motion in here, right? So as the cleat wears out, this is also wearing out. It just tends to get really sloppy. It's okay. I can still ride these. It's not that big a deal to me, but you start to notice it. You start to hear a little click-clacking because everything is kind of flopping around in there. And Keo also, they used to have, they also tend to wear themselves. If the newer ones have actually like a steel plate on them. Actually, I can show you that. So right here on this Look Keo pedal, they put a steel plate in here. The old ones back from 15 years ago or so were not. These are composite. They are not carbon. And what would happen right here is this would also start to wear out. And it just creates a whole sloppy environment to the point where you can't even, you can't tighten anything up anymore. So a couple other features I'll show you on this is that it comes with two of these, these little twisty turny things here. I forget the name that they call these things. And they click to tighten, and to loosen, you just turn to the left. And then you just pull up the tongue and then it automatically comes loose. Now you can't see it in here, but these are vented. Maybe I can get an angle where you can kind of see it. Yeah. These are vented on both sides. There's little pinholes in here. They are vented. They're vented on the bottom. You can see there's a screen mesh there. And there's some in the toes to drain out some water. I've got some Look Keo keys. These are not these are like 9-degree float. I usually like 0 or the 3-degree float. I just happen to have these, so I threw them on. It does have a removable heel pad. I'm not sure where in the world we would ever find a replacement, but it does have a screw that holds it in. On the other side is also vented And you can kind of see that a little bit as I rock it back and forth, but this is all vented in here. But other than that, there are no, there's some venting up here too. There's no nylon inserts in here. So this, to me, is gonna be a warm weather shoe. There's ample padding back in here. So this is actually pretty good. This is good. Now I did notice I rode these, I've got about 100 miles on these. The tongue has very little padding. So I did notice this was kind of cutting into the top of my foot a little bit, but not too bad. But the toe box here was pretty comfortable. You can definitely feel your toes wiggling around versus you can see how somewhat narrow and tight that toe box is. Or the shoes that I bought 17 years ago, these used to just cramp my toes up something fierce. These are old time shoes. I bought these probably 17 years ago. These were new old stock as well. It is also a carbon sole, and these were about $100 back in the day. And these shoes I still use on the trainer, but what happened with these is the carbon sole actually started to separate from the shoe. Both of them did it. I ended up just Gorilla Gluing them back together, and I still use them on the trainer today. But you can also see that there's nylon inserts in here, to create breathability, something that this shoe does not have. But overall, like I said, I've got about 100 miles on these shoes. I just got them a week or so ago, and so far they've been great. Let's weigh them out and see what that looks like. So, the Upline shoe comes in at 12.1 ounces. So not too bad. They're really not very heavy at all. Let's compare that to the Mavic shoe. So this again, remember this was the $425 shoe and it was new. There you go, 11.4 ounces. Just a titch lighter. Now let's look at the old time shoes that I have that I keep gluing together to keep them going. Bam, 10.6 ounces. So these 17-year-old shoes are actually the lightest. But they're all carbon-soled shoes. I love the carbon because it just doesn't flex. I do have, like, here's a, this is a mountain bike shoe, a Mavic mountain bike shoe. This is a composite shoe, and there's definitely a little bit of flex in there. These are pretty old. These are pretty wore out. But just to give you an example of what that looks like, 13.9 ounces. They're all still pretty light, pretty nice shoes. This one, this little toggle here, as you tighten it up, it just comes loose all the time. So these shoes should be replaced pretty soon. So in the end, all I can say is that the Upline shoes so far have been great. I think they'll be a good cool weather shoe. I don't necessarily think that I would spend a ton of time running these shoes during the summer, because I think your feet are going to get really hot in them. I do like the extra toe box space, so I think that'll be excellent, you know, as far as your feet goes and being able to wear a thicker pair of socks versus my old school shoes. But yeah, I think it's worth trying out, especially if you can find a pair of these for sub $100. It's hard to say how well they're gonna hold up, but it's definitely a carbon bottom. I can't flex it. I've tried to flex it. It just doesn't move. So I'm pretty darn certain they're definitely carbon. It's just a matter of whether the shoe will actually stick to the carbon or not. You know, the color scheme, take it or leave it. I've seen way worse. You know, these Chinese companies tend to like to put just random labels on their shoes, which I'm not a big fan of, that say things like fun or bike or just random words. I'd rather they just put some, you know, some Chinese characters on there that have a little saying or something cool like that. You know, it is what it is. This one doesn't really have any other logos other than the name of the company on there and, you know, the crazy graphics, which, you know, I don't mind. They're fine. They stand out for sure. Anyhow, thanks for viewing. If you have any questions, drop them down below, or any experiences you want to share, please feel free to do so. By the way, thanks again for my last video on the TPU tubes. Go read the comment section. So much good information came in from there. Talking about all the different things that people do with their TPU tubes, all the different things that people have tried. You know, example would be like the patches. You know, some people told me to try some different brands of patches, like Park Tool makes a really good glueless patch and things of that nature. So it's definitely worth reading the comments to see what other people had to say about that sort of thing. So anyhow, I appreciate the time. Thanks everybody for tuning in, and we'll catch you all again soon.